Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my garage. Well, here we are, day 270. Things are going wonderfully. April has been a wonderful month for solar collection. Normally, April is not that great of a month. The old adage, April showers brings May flowers, usually holds true. And a lot of times in April, you get rain and clouds, and you just don't get to collect a lot of kilowatts. But this month has been the exception. So let's jump right in and have a look. I'm getting May-June production in April, which is wonderful. This is a 30 amp system. There are 400 watts worth of panels hooked up to this system. It is currently 11:15 with a slight haze out there. And we're still getting 20 and a half. It's very nice. The system is currently at 349 kilowatts, up from 301. That means we made 48 kilowatts in the month on this system. Not too bad, not too bad at all. Let's run through this here. The load is at 71.7, and that is exactly the same as it has been for the last 3 or 4 months. This system does not carry any load on the outside lights or anything like that. And the PV array is at 656. That is up from 607, and that means it made 49. So we lose 1 kilowatt apparently in the transition there somehow or whatever, but this is the 20 amp system. It has 200 watts worth of panels up there on the roof. It is currently kicking down 10 and a half. Not too shabby either for that little system. And this system here has become the workhorse. As it stands at the moment, the Ghirlandaio is kicking 100 watts according to it upstairs to the refrigerator. Now, the shunt, I believe, is a little bit more accurate, and I'm thinking the Ghirlandaio is actually kicking 125 watts or so, 120 watts or so upstairs. And that accounts for most of the 10 amps. That's running that refrigerator, a standard Kenmore 25 cubic foot side-by-side refrigerator. It isn't anything special. I think I bought it in 2018 or something like that, 2017. So it's not the newest, and it's definitely not the most energy efficient, but it's not too bad. Better than I thought it was going to be. So let's have a look-see here at the PV array. The load is 43.5 kilowatts, up from 36.9. That means this terminal and the outside lights right here, that's 6.6 kilowatts for the month. Not too bad at all. And the PV array total, looks like I went through it there. Wasn't paying attention. PV array is 120 kilowatts. And that is up from 95.4 or 24.6. So, yeah, the numbers all work out pretty good. Hey, what can you complain about? That we're talking 24 and 50, 75 kilowatts off the grid, off of roughly 600 watts worth of panels. Not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. So we're going to go back a couple days and just have a little look at my monitor here. And I'm going to explain briefly how I managed to keep that Kenmore off the grid. It's not all by the sun at this particular second, and that is also explains why I've bought another panel, and we're going to reorganize the panels that are up on the roof, because I'm going to try to off-grid the refrigerator as much as possible this month. And obviously, if I can maximize the 20 amps that are coming through that system, that will help immensely, because as it stands now, the shortfall isn't that huge. So I started off-grid here that morning at 6:30-ish, excuse me, or so, and all the way through the next day, everything went fine, and the sun came out, and we got a rise, and then it fell, and then about 10 o'clock that night on the 11th, as you can see, the voltage over here starts climbing again, and the reason that's climbing is because, and as we go into the 12th here, you can see that it climbs and stays up, and then all of a sudden right there at 4 a.m. it drops off, and starts going down again, and that's because I came down and disconnected the 30 amp system and the 7 amp Bluetooth Victron charger. I disconnected those. I was using those to charge the 20 amp system. So about 6 hours or 7 hours there, 6, about 40 amp hours is what I had to put into the battery that night. And then wait for the sun to come back up, and as you can see, it climbed during the middle of the day here, and then back down at night again. And as we go into the next day, I did the same thing that night. as you can see, except for I left it on until about 5:30 a.m. that next day, and then shut it off. So that was about 8.5 amp hours, about 55 or so. So roughly, to make this work, I need another 50 or so amp hours over the course of the day. And if I can get another 60 or 70 watts out of the system, that might just be enough to do it. I think that a 20 amp system maximized will run that refrigerator all by itself from May until September, maybe even into October, depending on what the weather does. I'm going to do what I can to make sure that we test it and we find out. I did order the 100-watt panel. It should be here in a day or 3. I also ordered some other stuff to go along with it. And we're going to see if we can't reorganize everything and see if we can't get pretty close to 20 amps out of this system, and see if we can't get a little closer to 30 amps out of the big system. At the moment, the most I've seen is about 26 amps out of this one, and the most I've seen is about 13 and change out of this one. So we got some room to play with, and I'm going to do what I can to maximize output so we can see if we can collect as many kilowatts as possible. Well, hey, for those of you that are still here and watching, like and subscribe, will you? Maybe even comment. If you got something to say, that'd be great. Hey, I like to answer them. Give me something to do. Oh, hey, and one other change coming up here in the room. I think I'm going to actually consider a fireproof box, or maybe see what I can do to come up with something to fireproof things even further than what we have now. I don't know. We'll see how it all works out. Well, that's it for now. Have a good day, everybody, and a better tomorrow.